the people that want him to be held accountable are in the minority. At the end of the day, plain and simple. Like that's the way you got to look at it. So
I'm still sitting with the definition of impeachment because I thought it meant kick the nigga out this whole time.
It sounds like it too. Like when you sound impeached, it sounds like you're already getting thrown out the fucking door. But
it basically means to file a complaint. Like that's what an impeachment is. Yeah. And if impeachment is to file a complaint. So might tell Dique he's muted.
Yeah. Oh, I just said an HR complaint.
Yeah.
HR
pretty much.
HR. This guy's been bothering me. Whatever. What's he been saying?
Articles of HR. It's really articles of HR. That's really what it is.
Articles of HR.
It's the base. LOSO__G.
Dique, the engineer.
It's your boy, Letter After T, B4V. You go, boy.
It's the base.
Rundown.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
So, gentlemen, Trump was acquitted in his second impeachment trial, 57-43.
Bullshit.
So the 57 is the people who wanted him out, or
Yep.
So how did he win it?
Because you need a supermajority. So it's not just the regular majority. You need 2/3 of the Senate.
Mm-hmm. 4 is more than. Okay.
So hold on. Let me get this straight, right? So he was impeached twice, but like
a new record.
What is exactly does that even like mean? And actually, what was he impeached for? Just to be specific, because I think there might be a little bit of confusion in regards to like what actually.
Yeah. So I think he was specifically impeached for incitement of insurrection. Basically claiming voter fraud, election rigging claims, attempts to overturn the election. Obviously the most notable situation, which was the Capitol incident, inciting insurrection, basically. So basically it's not quite treason, but basically they're accusing him of sedition, which is inciting resistance or insurrection against lawful authority. So I don't know. You could think of it as treasonous, but that's what he was impeached for.
So is that shit that happened at Capitol Hill that they're considering incitement?
Yeah, well, but it's not just that. But that's really the thing that got the ball rolling. But that's not the only thing. You know how he went through the legal system in order to essentially claim that there was voter fraud, election rigging, making claims that mail-in ballots were invalid. That's pretty much what was going on. And it's interesting.
That was all from his Twitter.
Right?
All from the thumbs. That's all it took.
And it's funny because it's like, when you talk to people about impeachment, they don't quite know what it means. I've had conversations with people who say, oh, yeah, Trump is impeached. He's getting kicked out. And it's like, oh, no, that's not the case. You could think of impeachment. And the president isn't the only person that can be impeached. Anyone in any public office can be impeached.
Right.
Every state has their own version of impeachment. So it's essentially, you could think of it as analogous to like a grand jury, like a grand jury vote. So you go to grand jury, and that's where you vote whether something goes to trial. That's basically what an impeachment is. So Congress gets to impeach the president, and then it moves on to essentially a trial. The reason why this is the case, Article 1 of United States Constitution gives the House of Representatives, obviously Congress, there's the House, and then there's the Senate. It gives House of Representatives the power to impeach the president, vice president, or pretty much anyone in the federal government. Pretty much any officer in the federal government. And it's like checks and balances, just like our system of government. You have the executive branch, judicial branch, legislative branch. They're basically created to be checks and balances on each other. I don't know. I'm not going to read out the whole article of the Constitution, but it basically states that once the House votes for impeachment, there's the Senate has to try the case, basically.
So two bodies have to vote through it.
Exactly. So it's basically like grand jury and then like jury. That's
and then what can actually come out of that? Like, is there a specific like thing? Like, is there? So I know one of the things that comes out of the impeachment or that they can do is they can vote on whether somebody can be barred from holding office, which is what I wanted. But then the other thing is, I think, is it just to remove them from office, right? Like, I think it's the impeachment process is for those two specific things, but not to specifically go after people for all the things that they're legally like liable for. You know what I mean? Am I understanding that correct?
Yeah.
Like it's pretty much just hearing out like what the fuck is going on and saying get the fuck out of office, you're kicked out. But like, I guess in regards to like the specific things that he's being like that he's, you know, I guess he's guilty of or presumably guilty of, like that's left to, I guess, the other courts to handle. Right?
I mean, you know, let's say if someone gets impeached and they get convicted in their trial, they're essentially just being removed from office, and they have the option to bar them from office in the future, should they choose. But it could have implications in a criminal case. So let's say, I don't know, if he has a criminal case and it has something directly to do with his impeachment trial and he's getting, you know, criminally tried for the same thing. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm assuming that would be pretty good for the prosecution. The fact that he got impeached and removed, if that was the case. But in this case, he didn't get removed.
Has anyone actually ever been removed? Like gone through the whole process?
Not a president, but I believe there are a bunch of federal judges. So let me look at what I pulled up. House of Representatives has initiated impeachment proceedings over 65 times since 1789. Only 21 have actually resulted in the House passing articles of impeachment. Out of those, only 8 of them were removed from office. They were all federal judges.
Judges?
Yeah, federal judges.
That's why we never heard about them shit.
So they go around saying that Clinton got impeached, but he didn't?
No, he did get impeached.
He didn't. I think he didn't hit the second, like in the same way Trump.
Yeah,
right? Like,
so it's the same thing that happened. He got impeached. So basically, he got impeached, which just means that think of it as being considered to be removed from office.
Right.
You pass the first stage, and then you actually go from the trial to the trial where you could be removed from office. You
gotta pass 2 things, bro. Pretty much.
Yeah,
you gotta pass both parts.
And it's been 4 times in U.S. history have presidents been impeached. The first one was Andrew Johnson. He's the president who came after Abraham Lincoln, if anyone remembers. That was 1868.
Never heard of it.
Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton.
I know Bill Clinton, bro.
1998. President Trump in 2019 and President Trump again in 2021.
Trump is setting records, bro. Setting records.
He's a record setter.
Yeah, it's interesting. So it's like
Andrew Johnson doing in 1868 that he got impeached.
I think it had something to do.
Slavery.
Probably.
Well,
Bring it back. You gotta bring it back.
I take it back.
Well, that's a good question. Well, let me.
I'm looking at it now. With you. I forgot what did you do?
That would be so dick.
Andrew Johnson was dating a black chick.
Well, we gotta get him out of office.
He's like, we gotta get this guy out of here.
If he dies, she's gonna be the. No.
I wonder. So I wonder. I'm curious at what Andrew Johnson got impeached for, because Bill Clinton got impeached for getting head in the office, which is nobody's business. But the Donald Trump shit is more serious, so it's all over the walls, bro. You can get impeached for anything, man. Like, what the fuck did he do?
I mean, technically, it was lying under oath. That's like,
God,
that was the main thing. But I mean,
the only person that should be mad at Clinton is Hillary. Hillary's the only person that should be like, you fucking piece of shit. You know I have to stay with you. Now I get one.
She should be mad at herself for not being a. No, I'm playing.
No.
We're not gonna get banned.
I watched the Monica Lewinsky documentary that they filmed like last year or whatnot. It's like 4 or 5 parts. It was like on some House of Cards shit.
Like, I'll do it again.
She's kind of cute though. She cute too. But whatever.
So basically, Andrew Johnson, he tried to remove Secretary of War, which
Edwin Stanton.
Edwin Stanton. Yeah,
I knew it was you.
Right? And he was basically Johnson attempted to remove him from office. Congress is like, nah, you're bugging, bro, and attempted to remove him from office over that. But I mean, just that back in the day had a lot of implications. It just shows that it just shows the system displayed the system of checks and balances that we have, and
what happened with Nixon's case? Because didn't he resign before?
I was just about.
He resigned before he can even get. Yeah, he was super fucked. He was done.
That's crazy because I watched Black Messiah, sir.
They were gonna impeach him, and he was gonna get kicked.
He was donezo.
It was gonna happen.
He was donezo. Like, yeah, and
go ahead.
And it's funny because I wonder if that shit happened today. I wonder how it would be recieved if it happened today. I don't think people would be as up in arms about it, because, given Trump has been impeached twice, and I don't know, insurrection is it's a pretty serious thing. I don't know. I'm just wonder how that would play out today. But
I guess the one thing, my fault, I wanted to point out about Nixon, which I'm hoping, I believe it's after Nixon resigned, is that there was a lot of I forgot the exact word for it, a lot of
racism?
Things passed. Oh. No, things passed in order
executive order.
Yeah, no, it wasn't executive orders. Whatever. I don't want to say laws, articles, whatever. Rules. Let's just call them rules because I can't remember exactly which level or what the exact term for these set of rules were. But it was rules to limit the power of the president, if I'm not mistaken. Like, I believe that was the first time where there was bipartisanship, like in regards to like limiting the power of the president. I only point that out just because I think it's relevant for the conversation with Trump, although I don't think it's going to resort in the same thing that came out of that.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I don't know, like when I was doing research for this, just reading the Constitution, it's like something like, throughout the years I looked at it, but I've never actually like read it through and through. And it's very interesting how, basically how our whole system is just framed by this one document. And just, everything, that's like the source document for everything. Mm-hmm. It is very interesting how people interpret it. How society is, basically functioning off the back of that, the different interpretations of it. It's just very interesting.
I do want to actually talk about the different, the different interpretations of it. Because I guess the impeachment trial ended 57-43, right? But clearly that wasn't enough. I don't specifically want to talk about the seven Republicans, I believe, that went on to the other side. They had their own reasons. Actually, fuck it. We'll just talk about it now before I go on to the other point, right? I believe all of them, they're retiring with the exception of Alaska, right? Which doesn't really care. But I think that's kind of like, I guess, important and says a lot about the Republican Party. I think it's important because it's just like when given the situation that you're not going to lose anything, you're going to go against them. But everybody else, I feel like, has something to lose. Which is the main reason why they, not the main reason, one of the reasons why I think they kind of went that route. I forgot what was I going to say about what were we saying before? Oh, okay, my fault. So after this all came out, right, like, whatever, they voted, I'm specifically thinking about Mitch McConnell, because he came out, voted in support of Trump in this situation, came out, and it was just spewing a bunch of, like, stuff saying, yo, this guy's a whatever, he's definitely 100% guilty of it. This and that. And one of the things that, like, besides the fact that I don't expect anything less from him in that, he kept saying that the reason why he voted for Trump is that there's no point in impeaching somebody after they're out of office. But before all this happened, like, he was saying, he was the reason why it got pushed to after he was out of office. So, like, I think that's important for I guess the interpretation of, like, or I guess going back to the interpretation of the Constitution, because it's just like, why can he do that? Like, I don't get that. Like, to me,
why can't he do what?
Why is he able to get away with that? Why is it that he's able to be like, hey, I guess in the sense it feels like to me like he's interpreting the Constitution differently before and after, where it's like, yeah, we can impeach him, whatever. Let's keep pushing this off. Maybe it was a political strategy, but then afterwards he's like, okay, well, the Constitution for some reason says you can't impeach him, so whatever. Let's just keep.
Oh moving. Yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean?
I mean, it's, I don't have like the requisite experience to like know in depth why, who voted for what and why, but it appears to me it's just like it's very political. Like you said, people have things to lose. And if you're doing calculus, let's say if you're a Republican in the Senate, do you care if he gets convicted? Actually, I mean, period. Do you really care, if he could hold office again? Like, does it make a difference for you? It's like if you have constituents that you're, that are in your jurisdiction, that are in your state who are Trump supporters, and you're supposed to represent them, and you're worried about being reelected, why vote for him? It's rational. It's consistent from the standpoint of them, from a career standpoint or a political standpoint is very consistent. Maybe not from a rhetorical standpoint, it's not consistent, but like when it comes to what will benefit them the most, I think everyone's acting fairly consistent. Like on the Democrat side, it's like everyone's kind of, fuck Trump. We don't like him, so we're going to do it. And even having this will maybe, I don't know if they're actually thinking this, but I would imagine that Democrats are like, this could possibly divide the Republican Party even more. Single out some senators who vote on our side, just causing turmoil. I don't know. I think a lot of this is largely political. Listening to the people, particularly the senators that were at the Capitol during the Capitol riots, just listening to them talk, they were very sincere about, not knowing what was going on, being scared. And a lot of them, I imagine, really want Trump to have some real consequences, possibly criminal consequences. And it's crazy. It was crazy to hear the stories because people were legitimately scared. People had no idea what was going on. Like people were just like, there's zombies storming the Capitol, and I don't know what to do. I saw a video of like that officer. I forgot the gentleman's name, Eugene? But the Capitol police officer. There's a video of him like escorting Mitt Romney out. He's like running in one direction. He's like, no, we're out. So, you hear that and it's like, wow, okay, these people have genuine reason to convict Trump. But on the other hand, there's like this greater political game. So I don't know. You could approach it from all types of standpoints. It's just very, I don't know. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. I really do wonder what's going on in the minds of like each senator who's there, what their specific motivation is, if they even care. Because I imagine there has to be some that just like care in as much as it affects their career. But beyond that, it's like whatever. I'd just be curious.
That's the way I see it, because it's like, like the insurrectionists or the people that broke through, like they didn't care. They were targeting specific people. They're like, where Nancy Pelosi at? Where AOC at? They were calling people out by name, looking for people to not have a hug with or have a cold one with. They wanted to do them harm. There were people with freaking zip ties and, got
citizens arrest.
Yeah, we're here. We want to have a conversation with you, Nancy Pelosi. You know what I mean? Like, but there's so many reindeer games and political theater that's going on that at the end of the day, they really it doesn't affect their immediacy in terms of, all right, is this going to cost me my seat in 2 years? Is this going to cost me my office in 4 years? Oh, it doesn't? Fuck it. I'm not. I don't care. No, let him go. Like he's not. What's he going to do? Run again? Like that's how a lot of them are looking at it. He very well might be. You know what I mean? So there's the people that want him to be held accountable are in the minority. At the end of the day, plain and simple. Like that's the way you got to look at it. So.
I'm still sitting with the definition of impeachment because I thought it meant kick the nigga out this whole time.
It sounds like it too. Like when you sound impeached, it sounds like you're already getting thrown out the fucking door. But
it basically means to file a complaint. Like that's what an impeachment is.
Yeah.
And impeachment is the file complaint. So might tell Dique he's muted.
Yeah.
Oh, I just said an HR complaint.
Yeah,
HR
pretty much.
HR.
Pretty much.
HR, this guy's been bothering me. Whatever. What's he been saying?
Articles of HR. It's really articles of HR. That's really what it is.
Articles of HR.
Yo, so like, do y'all even think the shit was worth it? Like going through the process?
Oh man,
no, it's a big.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Ugo, you go, but like I definitely. I mean, I don't even think it was like if it was feasible to convict him, then yes. I mean, I believe maybe out of principle, maybe these proceedings should have happened just so the world could see. But from a political standpoint, it's like as a party, as a president, as a vice president, you have a certain amount of political capital. We don't know what it is, but the more things that you do that rock the boat, generally the less you could do in the future. Particularly, I don't know. I don't even think it is appropriate to bring Biden in it, but his whole spiel is to unite the country, and whatever that means. I think he just means, being able to pass things bipartisan and not get too much blowback. But things like these don't, quote unquote, unite the country. I think from a principle standpoint, yeah, he should have been impeached. This should have happened. But from a political standpoint, probably not. Like, he wasn't going to get convicted. It was a Hail Mary. And now, you've expended a bunch of political capital on something you knew wasn't going to happen. Maybe you could have spent your time elsewhere. I don't know. That's just like the practical, non-principled standpoint.
So it's a waste.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was a big waste of time. It's like, if we did a timeline, or just a freaking pie chart, or a bar graph, or line graph of all the dumb shit this dude's done in just his 4 years. He was only a one-term president. God forbid if he was a 2-term president with 8 years. But just in his 4 years of all just the stupid shit that happened on this guy's watch and that he was directly responsible for, not to mention the stuff before he became president or the year of his presidency with Russia and all the foreign stuff with election tampering and espionage and spy shit. So it's like, if he hasn't been thrown in jail or expelled or deported or fined at work,
fine
for any
have
of
a
that
ticket,
stuff,
sir.
Exactly. If he hasn't been held culpable for any of that, like, what made people think that this was going to be any different? That's why my parents were watching it like the fucking NFL playoffs. Like, what is Trump going to do today? Are they going to get him? They're going to get him? They're just in it. And I'm just like, he's going to get off.
No, it is political theater to a degree. Like,
I was about to say that.
It sucks. Like,
the
shit is entertaining to a lot of people. A lot of people love this shit.
I disagree with y'all.
Yeah,
I'm glad they. That what?
I said he had more publicity than the actual president. Well, go ahead, Dique.
No, I was gonna say I get what y'all guys are coming from. It's 100% true from the get-go. Clearly, it was like, just because it's so difficult to get that many people over from the Republican side to like vote with you. But I think it's worth it. I think if it happens again, they should do it again, more to like set that tone. But I think really the outcome of this is going to depend on how they control the narrative of it, right? Because you can see this and take those 7 people that moved over from the Republican side and just be like, hey, it's falling apart. Take some of the clips from Mitch McConnell, kind of build that story in regards to like the Republican Party's falling. Not only that, like apparently Trump went off the rails and started attacking the Republican Party and stuff like that, which I think there's another strategy for that. But I think the point is, it's just like, my man, like, honestly, democracy, like whatever, good and evil is like a never ending fight. You can't let shit like this slide, in my opinion. Like, no, fuck you, Trump. Like, you tried this bullshit. I think it would have been worse in the long run if we didn't do anything about it. Because then it's just like, okay, there's no repercussions at all. And I think like this, it had, I think, again, I think it really depends on who controls the narrative, right? Like you can take the situation and Trump can take it, which he's doing with his people and being like, look, we were right. One more for the good guys. This is a witch hunt. And then just keep building your crowd, right? Because that's just to stroke everybody's ego.
That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, or you can take it from the other side, right? And try to build, just look at the same events and build a different narrative. So I think at the end of the day, it's going to be who's building the better narrative, who's putting the story out there. Because, like, you can't let shit like this slide. I'm like, you can't. You just can't, my man, because I think that's just, it's worse in the long run. Because, like, Trump is annoying now, but I'm 100% worried about the next version of Trump, the next charming motherfucker who's young, good looking, good with word. They're pretty much
Josh Hawley.
White Obama, my man. That's who I'm worried about.
Hawley.
White Obama.
Josh Hawley.
So, like, yeah, you guys are 100% right. Maybe this was they didn't have the political capital to pull it off, but just like Republicans, they don't always care about being able to pull stuff off. They care about the narrative that they're able to tell. I feel like Democrats have to play, take a page from their fucking book, and you gotta do the same shit.
I mean, the long game. I mean, I'm projecting 4 years from now and 8 years from now. I guarantee you the next person that runs for president after Joey, assuming he doesn't go back to back, they're going to refer back to this. They're going to and they're going to use it to in some way or some shape to forward their hopes and dreams for progressing us as a society and this, that, and a third. Like if I can see it now, if I'm elected president, remember January 6th, remember the insurrection? We don't want to go back to that. So you should vote for me so I can bring a new America, a new nation. And so we can live by the Constitution and this, that, and the third, which adds to political theater.
I mean,
what we're saying to begin with. So that's where I see it going.
It's interesting what Jose. Oh, my bad. What are you saying?
No, I was gonna say you gotta get a Twitter handle and just start tweeting.
Like it's interesting what he said about narratives because that is true. But I think the narrative that you're building is already going to appeal. I feel like the sides are pretty well dug in, so the narrative is already crafted. You're just adding a little Parmesan here, impeachment Parmesan over here, and then but no, I agree. Like we shouldn't let things slide, and we should at least attempt to hold people to account. But also could be a political strategy to keep the Republican Party kind of fractured. But I don't know.
I know this movie's gonna be fire.
Movie's gonna be
oh man, there's 100%.
There's going to be a Metal Gear Solid, the restart of the franchise. It's gonna have some motherfucker looking Trump as person as fucking Big Boss, the final fucking villain.
The next Olympus Has Fallen is gonna have Denzel, Will Smith,
man.
Don Cheadle, Herschel Ali, Michael B. Jordan.
Trying to take Trump out.
You gotta go through all the presidents. You gotta survive the drone strikes, the Obama drone strikes, and then you gotta try to impeach Trump.
Yo,
Solid Snake.
A hologram of Chadwick. Like they're
man.
it's about to be fire, bro. It's about to be
Chadwick and Tupac, son. Fuck.
Yep, exactly.
Oh my God.
Yo, watch out for the new Olympus Has Fallen.
That shit going
man.
2025 exclusively on HBO Max.
If they still had the scary movie franchise, they would have been running with this Trump shit, bro.
Yo,
So my bad, go.
Oh no, I was gonna ask about just Trump going off on the Republicans and I guess really asking about what this means for like the parties moving forward, specifically the Republican Party, and I'm more thinking about that just because Trump, right? Because of his I forgot what organization he uses now to put out his thoughts. So now instead of us getting a barrage of tweets, it's literally an essay of all his tweets that he would have sent out. But like he's attacking the Republican Party, and I think it's more of a strategy thing, just more to show other Republicans that like, yo, watch yourself. I got this power. All these people following me. I think that's more or less why he's doing it. But I think and / hoping that like this inevitably, honestly, leads to the end of the Republican Party.
No,
or a breakdown. No, you're gonna say no, right? I think you guys. No, that's because you know what? We've had other parties before that have been in power, right? and the Republican Party did break
Yeah,
up
the Whigs
before,
is
right?
like the 1800s.
Okay,
Yeah.
but that
The
doesn't
Whig
mean,
Party.
yeah, but that doesn't mean it can't happen again. What
No,
makes
I'm
you
not
think
saying it can't happen again. I agree.
because it's always unlikely that like a party or an organization that holds power gets dethroned. But that's not to say that this can't be the beginning. Like Trump is literally holding these motherfuckers by the balls and shit like that.
The last time there was a successful coup de grace of a political party was the Wilmington riots. Mentioned it a few episodes ago in North Carolina. It was with the Fusionists. It was basically black Republicans merged with white Federalists, I believe, or populists. I'm not sure. And then you know who dethroned them and burned the town down and took over? White
Trump?
supremacists. No.
Oh, okay.
No, white supremacists.
Nixon was
Democrats.
there.
Dixiecrats. You know what I mean? Which is one of the reasons why I'll never be a Democrat. White supremacy. You know what I mean? So it's just like, and the insurrectionists in January 6th, they tried to basically reenact that. They tried to be like, you know what? We're storming this and we're taking shit over or whatever. And they weren't really that successful in terms of whatever they were trying to achieve because they, still voted anyway that night. But I'm with Ed Boy. I don't really see that taking place again.
Hold on, let's mark this right now. Yo, you guys heard it here first. If that shit happens, Dique was right. Dique called it, bro.
See, the thing about here's the thing about like predictions and stuff, right?
It will inevitably happen.
And eventually, right? So we could look 300 years, like, yo, I told you there's gonna be a new party.
Dique Dallas, bro.
And it's Skynet. It's just everything's just Skynet.
It is gonna be Skynet. Skynet's gonna be the new party.
Like technically it's a political no. I can see where you're coming from. The more and more I'm seeing like how politics work in America, it really starts with local politics. So it's not so much the implications on the national party, but you would really have to bring something, from like it would have to start somewhere. It would have to start local. If there's any new party, it would have to start either local or on the internet or
it's
something like that. In the base party. No, something like that,
That's how it happened. That's how.
I think what's happening now, you have fractures on both sides. You have the Trump wing, and you have the more moderate Republicans, or traditional Republicans, and on the Democrat side, you have the progressives, and you have the establishment Democrats. I think, due to the political theater, we see, what's happening with the Republican Party a lot more. But I think, what's happening in the Democratic Party between progressives and moderates is it's a pretty big deal. It just doesn't have the same sort of political theater behind it. But I think it's going to manifest in the next 4 years. It's going to be interesting. So I don't think you're wrong. But I don't know if the Republican Party itself is going to go anywhere anytime soon. It's just too much of a whale, and what the parties are so big, they encompass. You said what?
A dying whale.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you could make the argument that America is dying.
I see that. I see the next whatever wave of. I see moving forward. I don't think we're gonna get an old white guy in office. I think Joey might be the last one, in my opinion. An old guard, white male as president. I see the next.
Oh, you think he's gonna kick the bucket? It's gonna be Harry.
No, I think everybody say Kamala. I still say AOC, Stacy Abrams in 2028. I said what I said. I think that the next generation.
That's a prediction. That's a prediction, bro. That's a prediction,
bro. Look at this guy.
That's a prediction.
Dropping fun flex bombs.
Bro. You're gonna have to remove like 70 million people if that ever, because there are people who will just never vote for her, bro. Like,
I think you need to start worrying about technocrats or whatever you want to call them. Like Really successful.
Yang?
Not just Yang, Bezos, Zuckerberg, any of those billionaires that are getting bored with their companies and want to run.
Well, The Rock is going to run. The Rock said he might run.
Yeah, The Rock said he's going to run.
I'll vote for him. He does great movies. His whole marketing campaign should just be a movie. This new blockbuster hit. It's just the fucking Rock starring. Oh no, he doesn't go.
Not gonna happen. How rock bottom that is.
He just rock bottoms the fucking Trump on the fucking desk.
The premise of the movie is someone takes over the White House and turns the White House into a weapon, and The Rock has to fight the White House.
Oh my god!
Fast 10, bro. Fast 10. Fast 10 politics.
What was the movie where his like 2 movies ago? He had to fight a building. I forgot what it was called.
Oh, it was Rampage, wasn't it? Rampage.
No. Rampage. You talking about? You talking about skyscraper?
Yes. This fool fought a building.
That's so stupid, son.
So The Rock fights the White House. He's got to fight the White House. He's got to fight the Washington Monument. Lincoln Memorial becomes like Ghostbusters.
Becomes alive.
He's he gotta fight the Dr. King monument as well. Like he's gotta fight everything.
Yo, he has to fight the ghost of Dr. King. That's hilarious. It's like a Dark Souls boss. You just see his health bar go up, like.
And they're gonna team up and fight all the white fucking. Nah, this is crazy.
Oh man, and I'm gonna do the soundtrack.
Young legend. Young. That's the name of the game.
And that's the bass.
That's the bass.
Down.
I'm talking straight facts.